though, Rick. Let's just say it wasn't a piece of armor that he put his brother's soul into. Bleach is not a strong enough chemical to get rid of the terrors that are in this head. So they asked me what was the worst piece of fan art I've ever seen, and it was that was the story. So Dina, what's the worst thing you've ever seen at a convention? You're a woman. I'm sure I'm sure it's all been flowers and shamrocks, right?
Oh, 100%. Of course. 100%. So back in my day.
Oh yeah, which was what, like a year ago? It's a Tuesday.
No, so this is my resurgence into the con life. I was back in 2018, say pre-COVID, the thing we were talking about. I was into cosplay for a hot minute there. I was doing that thing. I was getting conventions, doing all this how I'm here now. And there was one time where someone looked up my personal information on Yellow Pages. And they
what the fuck is Yellow Pages?
like an actual phone book.
Half the people in here like, what's a phone book? Oh, you mean like Google? Yeah, but you had to open a book and go A, B, fuck.
Yeah, so my cosplay name is Pixel Doll. So someone looked up Pixel Doll on Facebook and they linked it to my real name, which is Dina. Thanks for outing me, Brian. I'm gonna get weird in there, thank you. But it's all going that way. They found my real name, and then from there they found my parents' address. And then from there I received fan drops.
Yeah, you're welcome. I spent a lot of time on those things.
Oh my god, does you change your name? Is that you?
Yes.
Oh my god. But yeah, so anonymous person, anonymous artist. It was a signature. I could not make it out. There was no return address, and my parents were like, "There is a mystery package for you at our home," which luckily at that time was only 40 minutes away. So I found it, and I was like, "Do not touch that." And then I looked at it.
For your own safety, don't open that.
And I was just like, "Oh no!" And then yeah, it was. It was. To be fair, it was safe for work, but it was just a very bad portrait of one of my cosplay photos, and I was like, "Don't do that again, thank you." That was like my weirdest personal story.
Yeah.
I have seen some things though. I will leave this anonymous to keep everyone amicable. There was a other convention in Florida I was working staff for, and I was working for another voice actor who is not affiliated with the con life, does not know how the culture is and fan interactions. They have done fan interactions for a while, but they are, in all legitimacy, a LA actor, and they're happen to do voice acting alongside other endeavors. But voice acting is not their primary thing. And there was one person who was like, "I'm replacing you." As guest liaison, they're like, "I'm replacing you." And I was like, "Under what authority?" And they were like, "I need to be next to this voice actor. I'm replacing you." And I was like, "Oh, I need to see a supervisor." So it was a little bit of a interaction that way.
That's not how that works.
No, it is not. So that was it wasn't so much for the voice actor, but it was definitely a thing that I witnessed where I was like, for this voice actor's safety, I'm gonna need to see a permission slip. It was one of those seconds.
Did you get parental signatures on this?
Exactly. Where are your parents?
Okay, so we still have a few more minutes. I do see a hand. Give me 1 second. I will come right to you. We're going to, since we're all in here, we may as well open the floor to crazy, ridiculous fucking stories.
Yes,
So, I guess military ninja.
Someone who's more
Thank
qualified than
God.
us to run this panel, please.
Thank God someone showed up. Hey, guess what you can do in this panel?
I can say the fuck word?
Yes, you can! The fucks can be given. So if you weren't here, we had a panel earlier on JoJo, and Brittany's sitting at the end, and she's like, "I don't know if I can say this, but I have to for the sake of this story." And she said the F word, and I was just like, I didn't hear that. I'll let it go.
It's okay, I'm cringe and I am free.
So we have been going over some questions. They've been told, obviously, again, hey, guess what? She's here. They're here. No phones. If I see a phone from this point forward, I will respectfully tell you to get the fuck out of my room.
One last question
Yes,
though.
no recording of this panel, please. It is 18.
One last.
Yeah.
I think it would be a good idea to just keep it to like a general voice actor Q&A, but I can say fuck every once in a while.
So basically what we went over
Yeah.
was we don't want any boring ass questions.
Oh no, please ask interesting questions.
Yeah, so like I told them, hey, don't ask how to become a voice actor. If you have
If that's your
expect-
question, be better.
Yeah, do better.
Do better.
Do better.
Hold yourself accountable.
So what we actually, we had a little bit of discussion while waiting on you. Like, what's
Okay.
the most heinous piece of fan art you've ever received? Like, what's the most heinous interaction with a fan? Like, have you ever felt?
Okay,
creeped
I'm
out?
gonna say this here because this happens at every fucking convention I go to. And it is the one hard limit I have on stuff I just will not sign. Like if you show up to my table with any racy fan art of any of my Pokemon characters, I will call the FBI and we will seize your hard drive.
That,
Don't talk to
that
me,
sounds
don't
like that's
look at
happened
me.
at least once.
It happens. It got so bad at a con that I literally had to write on the sign, "No Pokemon lewds. You will be turned away at my table." I am
Yes.
dead ass serious. I'm sorry, that is a kid show. Do not show up to my table with lewds from a kid show. If age is just a number, jail's just a room. And one of us will be there. So don't do that. Oh my God, what the hell? So anything, it makes my blood boil and it makes my tummy hurt. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
If there's one takeaway from AFO, it's that quote right there.
Age is just a number, but jail is just a room.
And it is what it is.
Yeah, for real. If you show up with any racy fan art of anything that is a show explicitly for children, you will absolutely be turned away from my table. No code words, like I will be full bitch. Like, I'm sorry,
Word.
no,
Alright, that's-
absolutely not.
it's the
There's
best.
adult shows I work on, like JoJo, which literally opens with female masturbation, which means it would be rated NC-17 if it were live action. See, you get it. So, I mean, there's adult shows you can watch where I say the fuck word, or the C word, or the S word, or the other C
Go for it.
word.
He says right, go for it.
Two C. Wait, I know of one C word. Now I'm confused and concerned.
You have cunt,
Uh-huh.
and you have cunt flap.
There's a second word? I thought
It's
that
like
was
ass
an
and an
extension.
asshole. Like there's a specificity. I'm sorry.
I feel like that's like the French accent mark.
There's a specificity that yes. So yeah, just that's my hard limit, guys.
Yeah, no,
But I will totally write NSFW quotes from JoJo on print. I do it all the time. I've had someone request the flicking the beat quote on the print once. It's the first time that ever happened. But mostly, if you are over 18 and I confirm with you that you are over 18, I will totally write "It's a giant snail orgy" on your print. Because that's the funniest thing I've ever been paid money to say. Like, bar none. I love JoJo. It's. I love how it takes place in Florida, and finally the show makes sense.
Of course it does.
Like, you'll have it in Japan, you'll have it in England, you'll have it in Italy, right? But then it happens in Florida, and oh man, I can totally fucking buy all the events of this show and happen.
It's no longer a bizarre adventure. It's just an adventure.
Yeah, it's just Florida. Poochie at his core is just Florida, man. It's whatever. Like, it is what it is.
JoJo's Bizarre Florida, man.
I think I saw some audience questions.
Yes.
I've seen
Yeah,
Tom hand with the hat at
If
the
you
end.
get too crazy racy with the questions, I will fight you myself.
I am not gonna ask
Please ask
anything.
your
Please
question.
get racy with the questions so I can see her fight.
I have
Please.
Hey Ryan, speaking of that, I have a question for you. What do you think of the Dragon Ball Abridged, and what do you think of a certain Goku's
I love
voice
those
actor?
people. I'm sorry?
And I was asking Ryan, what do you think of Sean using the F slur when he was making the houses, the He-Man parody, which was supposed to be a parody of homosexuality? And what do you think of Sean Schimmel doing that, Ryan?
I've honestly never seen that.
I'm familiar
So,
with that. So those who are not familiar with it, the DBZ abridged and everything from that genre, it's a fantastic. Like I like Sword Art Abridged and all that Something
Hilarious.
Entertainment. I love their content. I understand the voice actors' plight with it because it is taking money away from the pocket, but also it's fucking good content. It's good, but there's also, you have to acknowledge that content was released at a time where we have comedians like Dave Chappelle and so on going about. So certain things were okay until suddenly times change. So I will absolutely allow you to answer your question, but please keep that in note that those content we're describing was released over 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, society progresses, and the stuff that was acceptable 15, 10 years ago is obviously no longer acceptable now. Because as a society, hopefully, we grow and change. That's not the case for individual people sometimes. But, as you move forward in a society, there's just words that you probably just shouldn't say anymore. And maybe you grew up saying them, but that doesn't make it okay then or now, As for DBZ Abridged, I do love those people. Anthony Fish is actually one of my very, very good friends. So Anthony Sardinia, he's a bro, total bro. When I have had a hard time, he has checked on me. So he's one of those kinds of friends that will check on his friends. Good human, excellent human. Takahata or Curtis, I used to read tarot cards for him while I was at the Met. Because if you go to New York City and you go to the Met, there's a giant Egypt exhibit, and in the back there's a massive reflecting pool. And I would take one of my decks, and I would just read tarot cards by the ancient Egyptian reflecting pool, and security never caught me. And I DM Curtis on Twitter. I'm like, yo man, I need help breaking in a deck. You want to talk to me? Tell me what's going on. I'll read your cards for you. And so that's basically what I would do. And no one caught me. Because, there's so many people in there. What are you going to do? Tell me to leave? You can't.
Can we go ahead and close the door? It is after 9 and
This is an 18 plus.
yeah.
Somebody can grab that.
Door, please.
I'm still waiting for Ryan to answer my question.
Yeah, but you gotta be in the room to.
He's not answering
Yeah,
my
well,
question.
I'm more worried about someone outside the room, she's
Yeah, I get
saying
you.
the C words, both C words apparently.
I can say-
Oh, no, yeah.
Well,
I get
Ryan
that.
was too busy talking about
In
shit, so
response
it's
to
like,
your
why not ask a
question,
question about Sean?
since you kind of directed it at me, I didn't know about that. My issue with that sort of content is that, like she said, we should be growing. I love Sean Shimmel to death. I've known him for several
Hey
years.
guys, can you close the door behind you, please?
Yes. Please don't
Just
wanna
make sure the
close
door is
door.
closed behind you. Thank you.
There
No,
is
you're good. It's okay.
there is a joke in the community that I am J. Michael Tatum's doppelganger, and I know Sean Schimmel's doppelganger, which is a story for another time. But be that as it may, you have to be able to look at your friends and their actions and say, hey, that's not okay. And if he defends that action, you need to be able to go, well, I'm going to take a step back from you because you're currently believing in something that I feel is against someone else's human rights, and that's not what I stand for.
I think it's also the acknowledgement that comedy is adaptive to time.
Yes.
Right.
So it's also knowing when it's time to leave that joke in the past.
Yeah.
And when the rule of three still applies.
Yeah. A perfect example is, oh God, what's that the comedian that did the do joke?
Carlos
Yeah, Carlos Mencia.
Yes.
Notice
Oh, yeah.
he hasn't been around recently doing that joke because as a society we realized, hey, that's not nice. And we don't want people to feel like inherently in comedy you're always going to have someone that's going to feel a certain way about a joke. But it's much easier to go, look at Brian, he looks like a fucking idiot, than look at this entire group of people and we're going to generalize an entire thing, a group of people. I'm more of the I'm going to pick on one person or that group that is right there that is diverse. I'm not going to single out one thing. Hey guys, if you're gonna
Y'all
come on in,
can pile
if you're gonna
here.
come in,
Listen,
come on
there's
in.
a door behind you. Oh,
There
no,
we
you got
go.
it. It's
Perfect.
Oh,
No, no,
wait,
you're
no.
good.
Okay.
Oops.
Come on in, come on in.
Please
But yeah.
make sure the door behind you is closed.
That is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
We need to be able to, like she said, grow as a society and realize our friends aren't always correct.
Right.
And if you're surrounding yourself with yes people, you're doing yourself a disservice. If your friends aren't willing to call you out on your bullshit, they are not your friends. That's my view on it. That was a great question. Thank you so much.
Sometimes, for real, like, if you realize you're in a group of people and what they're saying and doing is not okay, it is perfectly permissible to just drop the entire group.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Because
Normalize that, please.
yeah, normalize being like I'm more of an adult than these people that should be adults with me. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, and I think there's a stigma against, like, but we've known each other forever, and, like, you're moving up in the world, you think you're better than everyone else, and at that point I'm like, yes, I do, because this is bullshit that I'm not gonna put up with at my big girl age.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, but no.
Like,
Yeah, house standards.
Yeah.
Like, talk to that, hell yeah. Like, let me
Yeah.
house standards.
all right. Next
That's
question.
one other question.
I see a hand over there and someone pointing at said hand over there.